How's it going? My name is Brandon Hanau. This is for my pathophysiology class. I don't have a piece of paper. I'm just using my iPad. But, yep, there's my name. There's the date. Um, and basically, I'll be using these as my notes. These are pretty much my notes. Yeah, no details. It's all in there. But yeah, basically, I'm going to be talking about respiratory failure syndrome, and basically, what that is it's when your blood either has either super low levels of oxygen or or super high levels of oxygen, and some individuals can actually even have both. And basically, some manifestations or some signs or symptoms that you can have when you have this, and pretty much points to respiratory failure syndrome, is obviously you have shortness of breath. You can have air hunger, and it pretty much sounds just like the name. It's when the individual is trying to breathe in, but no matter how much they breathe in, they always feel like they need more air, that something is wrong with their lungs, that they're not getting enough air. They're hungry for air. And some other things could be your lips, your skin, even like your nails can turn a bluish color. You're pretty sleepy, and you can even lose consciousness at times. Can even develop arrhythmia. And yeah, these are just some of the things that can point to respiratory failure syndrome. How I differentiate some of the other syndromes that also deal with the lungs. I picked three. The first one being pleural syndrome. Pretty much with pleural syndrome, it's when you have an excess amount of fluid contained within your lungs, and with this, you just it's like a severe chest pain. Like your chest is just like super in pain, and you just have like a constant cough. With bronchiectasis, uh, this is when the tubes, like going, that kind of connects through your lungs and all through your lungs, are permanently widened and permanently damaged. And with this, you're some signs with this, you're coughing up a thick amount of mucus almost like every day, and it can even get to the point where you're even coughing up blood. Um, the last syndrome I kind of picked would be chronic bronchial syndrome. And with chronic bronchial syndrome, you have a thick mucus that's kind of contained within your air sacs. And basically, with this one, you're wheezing. You have like a constant like wheezing, and your chest just is super tight. You just have like a tight feeling within your chest. And yeah, each of these manifestations and even causes, or like what they do to the lungs, are just different than what you find in respiratory failure syndrome. So those are some of the ways I differentiate. And lastly, I picked three diseases that kind of deal with respiratory failure syndrome. And it starts out with these diseases and can even worsen into respiratory failure syndrome. The first one would be sepsis. Sepsis is pretty much a blood infection. It's when a bacteria or microorganism, or maybe even a foreign object, is found within your bloodstream, and your body, it just triggers a severe response within the body. And things just start going wrong, obviously, and it can lead to respiratory failure syndrome as it worsens. We got pneumonia. Pneumonia is pretty much an infection of the air sacs within your lungs. It causes them to be inflamed, and with that, as it goes on, it obviously pneumonia is infected. Like the way you get pneumonia is when you some sort of bacteria or virus or even fungus finds its way within the lungs and kind of causes that inflammation of the air sacs, and that can eventually lead to respiratory failure syndrome. And then lastly is corona. I'm sure everyone's heard of this one already, but basically corona or COVID-19 is a respiratory tract infection, is what some doctors would say. And basically it can be upper or lower parts of your lungs. And with that, if not taken care of, or it depends on the individual, but that can, you guessed it, lead into respiratory failure syndrome. But thank you for listening, and hope you learned something today.